Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Magandang hapon po. It's Saturday again, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Senior City Kwentuhan. Co-sponsored ng Education Network, particularly yung Adult Learning and Education Program, yung senior sa panahon ng COVID, and Lapis at Season ni Nagari Granada. And your regular co-host, as usual, ako po si dela Torre at ang ating katabi.
Si Tita Girlie.
Ngayon, para bagang sigurado namang after the elections, ang dapat na topic na
Hindi, pinag-aralan ko yung sinabi ni Alexander.
X.
Talaga, very micro-targeting sila.
Okay.
Data-driven. Kaya sabi nga ni Brittany Kaiser, protect your own data because our personal data is the most visible but valuable asset in this world. Kaya sabi ko nga kay huwag mo sasabihin na yung lahat ng personal data natin.
Well, that tells you already. Isa yan sa magiging main topic ngayon.
Yes.
But our very special guests this afternoon po ay very close friends namin. Tawag nga namin sa aming sarili couples.
We deserve better couples.
At natutuwa tayo na naging available po ngayon. Busy rin ang schedule si Gerry Bulatao at si Sally Bulatao. Good afternoon. Pakibati sa ating.
Magandang hapon po. Magandang hapon po.
Ngayon, as usual, tinanong natin sila, anong gusto nyong, well, ang topic talaga eleksyon, pero anong gusto nyong gagamitin nating title, ganon. Nanggaling na rin po sa kanila, sabi nila, ay, nabasa mo ba yung, yung ginawa ni Bishop Soc Villegas, yung bumalik tayo sa kinabukasan. So yun ang pinili nating title. Balik tayo sa kinabukasan. Dinagdag na lang natin what have we learned, what is to be done, how to keep hope alive. Ang nag-recommend rin po si Gerry na i-divide natin roughly in half ang usapan ngayong hapon. The first half, ayun, comments natin, damdamin, insights tungkol sa nangyari. Second half naman to the future. No? Magsimula po tayo sa ilang excerpts na nanggaling doon sa Facebook post ni Archbishop Soc Villegas. Nababasa naman po ninyo, kung natalo tayo, damhin ang kirot. Huwag pigilin ng luha. Pero sabi niya, paypay man o pagod, balik tayo sa kinabukasan. Huwag nating ipanakaw ang pangarap. Bumalik tayo sa kinabukasan natikman. Hindi ako nang hihinayang, walang nasayang. Kayong dalawa, Sally and Gerry, can you just share sa ating mga nakikinig, just offhand, ano ang this past, ilang araw na pala, 5 days na.
Monday.
Anong gusto nyong ibahagi? Take off from the point of Archbishop Soc or just take off from your own, yung dominant feelings nyo, nasa isip ninyo, mga katanungan ninyo.
Kami we voted early, yun ang nakagawian namin. And then we went back to our precinct in the evening to check the vote of our precinct cluster and yung katabing precinct cluster. Tuwan-tuwa kami. Panalo si Lenny. 2-1. Ganon din si Kiko, panalo. As the following morning, kita rin namin sa Facebook page ng barangay na dutifully nagre-report ng barangay kung ano yung election results. At sa buong barangay, nanalo si Kiko, nanalo si Lenny, malaking margin. Number 1 si Chel sa mga senador. Pero that evening, evening of the 9th, ako, dismayado talaga ako. By about 10 o'clock, natulog na ako. Si Sally naman, couldn't sleep until 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I couldn't sleep. Dalawang gabi yun eh. Not two successive nights, but the third night. Una kasi, hindi ako nagulat. No? Ano nangyari? Tuwang-tuwa pa naman kami sa aming ito nga, no? Ganon. Pero mabilis yung gulat, mabilis ko yung na-get over kasi sabi ko hindi naman ito lang ang aming hindi lang naman ito yung focus ng aming buhay, no? In fact, all of our lives we've been just wanting to use whatever talents and whatever resources we have to help others. So, ang dali naman mag-refocus, di ba? Yun yung una kong reaction. But on the third night, yun yung hindi ko na maintindihan bakit hindi ako makatulog. No? And I think it's because I was being bothered by my conscience, thinking of the younger people. Kasi nung mga rally, ang ikinutuwa ko nga is, nandyan na pala itong mga kabataan. I thought I was just attending the rally to add to the warm bodies. Parang ganon. Pala, parang I felt, yung parang nakonsyensya ako na, hey, if we just keep quiet this time, if we don't help to analyze what happened, meron tayong pagkukulang. Yun lang, yun yung hindi ko ikinatulog, no? And then yun nga, that led me to the book of Brittany Kaiser, etc. No? Kasi yun nga, kukunin ko na bukas sa fully booked.
Available pala.
Oo. Anyway, yun yung dalawang reaction. Una, I thought it would be easy to just refocus. Second, I think we have a responsibility just to give our own thoughts, no, to the younger people. In the first place, ang dami talagang, Lola, how will I explain to my kid what happened? Yung ganon, Ma'am Sally, nakakaiyak, no? So you needed to have an explanation, and it's not enough to just say, tanggapin, no? Because mamaya sa lesson, we are going to analyze what happened. Yun.
Yes, Ger.
I was going to add, kahit dismayado ako, after 2 days, I came to accept na malamang si Marcos nga ang madedeklarang manalo. But just because he will be the de facto president, doesn't mean that I will accept his legitimacy. Kasi marami pa rin questions na hindi pa nasasagot. I don't know if can we bring up some of the questions?
Pwede. Erase na, ilagay na natin doon sa
digital manipulation. Hindi ko talaga maintindihan yung how can he get 31.1 million votes? Di ba? Parang when you think of how many votes ERAP got, 10.7, GMA in 2004, 13.9, Pinoy 14.2, Pidots we'll probably have to accept Bongbong as the de facto president.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we will accept his legitimacy as president. There will be questions unless the questions are resolved. Until the questions are resolved, may questions that will hang.
Parang well, not exactly parallel. Tatandaan ko, ano tayo rito kumbaga, veterano naman tayo sa politics at sabi nga ni Sally, it's not the only thing na end all and be all natin yung electoral, but we value it. Nung panahon ni GMA versus FPJ, when I was doing the numbers, sinabi ko noon kay Boy Morales who was in the FPJ campaign, ako, Boy, ang reading ko talaga, kayang manalo ni GMA, legitimately because malalaking probinsya, malalaking lamang versus maraming probinsya sa FPJ pero maliliit ang lamang. But I said, siguro maximum yan go either way, 500,000. And I really think she could have really won legitimately 500,000. But then she wanted, siguradong unquestioned, so humingi ng 1 million. Ay problema, very crude yung binanggit sa Mindanao, Hello Garci. Ito naman, iniisip ko nga, since they want to, sabi parang redeem yung sinabi lang you are isolated, hated, ganyan-ganyan. Parang sinabi lang, parang overkill ba? Overkill. Whatever the methods they use. Well, I mean, we could accept. Sabi ko nga kay Girlie nung tayo nag-uusap, sige, matatanggap kung natalo si Lenny. Imposible naman ganyang kalaking lamang. Parang sobra naman, no?
Just to put that in context, we think of all the rallies.
Oo.
Grabe yung rallies natin. Ang lalaki. Compare that with the rallies of Marcos Jr.
Yeah.
Okay. Tapos compare that with the endorsements. Sa simbahan, in the fourth point of Bishop Tony, I have not seen the Catholic Church go out for a presidential candidate as much as they went out for Lenny.
Yeah.
Grabe, parang it's really, for me, amazing, but such a wonderful thing to happen. They really use their prophetic voice to support Lenny. And yet, what did Marcos have? Kiboloy, wanted in America. Velarde, dininay ni Bishop Bacani. That's just his personal opinion. There never was any consultation.
Yeah.
Di ba? Yun lang ang nakayanan ni Bongbong. Tapos when you think of all the doctors for Lenny, so credible dahil sa ginawa ni VP sa COVID-19, they supported her. Lawyers for Lenny, architects for, accountants for Lenny, farmers for Lenny, iba-ibang sector, iba-ibang lugar, puti all the volunteers, all the artwork, the creativity, the celebrities. And what did Marcos have? Parang you put the two in balance, and there is no way that you will conclude na mananalo yung isa on the basis of sa regular elections.
Yeah.
Ito talagang com-elected lang siya.
Yun talaga ang attitude ko, kasi tayo naman, alam naman natin na traditional political machineries, lalo na sa yung powerful class LGUs, they could really have delivered a bigger number of votes than this new campaign, no? Pero still, ang nahihirapan ko tanggapin, 31 million to 14 million. Parang too much. Para ka kumbaga basketball, alam mong talo ka, pero lampaso ang pinalabas sobra naman talaga.
And yung kasi yung design, kasi the rallies were not expected. It wasn't part of the scenario.
They had
So, did you notice, pag may inumpisa ang rally, magra-rally din, hindi naman makarami. Di ba? Mag-mural, wala namang mag-mural. Yung ganon, no? Mag-gift. I mean, kung hindi siya kasama sa senaryo, mahirap gumaya. Di ba?
Kung gumaya.
Pero ang value naman nun is that, halimbawa, starting from the surveys, di ba, even the statisticians will tell you that eventually the surveys or whatever should reflect the ground, no? Ika't ayaw mag-reflect, di ba? Except their insistence that, you see, we were correct all along. Yes, they were correct all along according to what they have designed.
Yeah.
Kasi explain na yan ng Cambridge Analytics eh. Kasi may timeline sila. Tapos sinabi nga ni Alexander, basta sinabi na nung client, ito yung gusto namin,
Bahala na
nila yan dun sa data na hawak na nila. So yung pumasok yung mga pink rallies, totoo, hindi pa yung kasama dun sa
kahit na nga hindi sila makaganda ng rally, di ba?
Pero they insisted na ganito yung gusto namin na numbers. Kaya nga sabi ni Alexander, from madmen to matmen. No?
Mathematics na.
So imamap na nila all over the Philippines. Halimbawa, sinabi talaga nila na nakatulong yung data sa Facebook kasi ang dami-daming nagpe-Facebook na Pilipino. So, tuwan-tuwa sila na ang dami nilang namamine na data. Kaya halimbawa, how many texts do you get in the Philippines per hour? Di ba? Millions. Tayo na ata ang texting capital of the Philippines. And that is big data.
World.
So, for them, parang wow, ang saya. O sige, sabi ng client, gusto ko yung pinakamalaking turnout. Kahit na it's not on the ground. Basta digitally, it's feasible, sabi nila. Kaya natin yun.
Yeah. Yun lang yung problema kasi kala nila dating environment. Yeah. So this new development, this new phenomenon, mahirapan sila mag-adjust na na i-reflect yung kanilang numbers. That's why we have to remember that this is in the new terrain. Ground level is very important.
Yeah.
That's the end of 1978.
Maganda yun.
April 6, it was called. I think the election was held on April 7. But what people remember is April 6 kasi nagkaroon ng noise barrage.
So
over Metro Manila, talagang grabe. It was so loud, so prolonged until umaga pa. And yet, the following day, supposedly natalo tayo.
Lampaso.
Panalo si Bakul.
Number 1 si Imelda. Number 22 si Ninoy Aquino. Such a brilliant performance on TV. Number 22. Very hard to, and yet, de facto, ganun na nangyari. No? Sila nang umupo sa interim batasan pambansa. But 5 years later, after they assassinated Ninoy, there was an explosion.
Yeah.
Explosion of resentment. No?
Maganda talaga yung sino bang nag-comment rin kanina doon when we had yung parang group sharing sa Bantayog na kaya sabi nga niya, itong ni-raise mo, Jer, na the whole issue of truth, disinformation, more than anything, there are many issues mahalaga because sabi nga niya, hindi ko matatanggap yung ma-elect ang isang presidente on the basis of kasinungalingan, parang ganun, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Matatanggap naman natin in a fair fight, we can lose naman, wala namang problema yun, pero masyadong on the basis of manipulation ng data at saka hirap.
The experience also reminds me of 2019, yung 8 Diretso.
Yung 8 Diretso.
Halo lahat, di ba? But there was an 7-hour glitch, di ba? 7 hours walang pumapasok na data. Parang yun, slow break. Ito naman, ang nangyari naman ngayon, parang fast break.
Parang 3-point shoot.
Oh. On the first hour, 1 hour after the polls were supposed to be closed.
Even if the closed.
Yeah. 1 hour after, 44% had reported. Napaka-efficient nila mag-report. By what was it? By 11 o'clock? Like 70% na, di ba? Sobrang efficient yung reporting. Samantalang may 1,900, COMELEC figure, 1,900 or almost 1,900 machines broke down.
Yeah. I think it's this kind of conversation that they don't want to happen. Ang gusto, kaya ganun ka-overwhelming is supposed to be just swallow everything because everything is just overwhelming. Parang ganun.
Madisheartened mo lang.
Yes, yes.
Pero on the other hand, Ed, parang inisip namin, ang tagal tayo nagtiyaga under martial law.
Yeah.
We fought martial law. How many years did it take before we succeeded?
Yeah.
And now back to the future. Dati.
Kailangan natin na
paharap.
No, but ako din, I mentioned this to you, Ed. While yung during the campaign, amazed na nga ako dun sa mga kabataan, no? So one evening, ang inire-reflect ko talaga, what is it that they might miss? No, I mean, I was happy to see them coming forward, no? Pero inisip ko, maiisip kaya nila na pwedeng matagal to.
Totoo.
Because of that, no? So maybe that's what we will also do.
Sa kanina nga, sa small group conversations, I was talking mainly with young professionals, fresh graduates, ganyan-ganyan. Yun ang nabalyo naman nila sa sharing ko and a few others. Sabi yung perspective ng mga seniors na sometimes it will take much longer. Although sabi ko, we also have to learn na rin naman, baka with this whole new technology, with the, that maybe we cannot use as benchmark ba yung 1970
to 1986? Oo naman. Yeah. Of course.
Shorter.
Of course. Yeah.
Ang problema natin.
Media noon pasabilis nga lang tayo. Ngayon, mas mabilis digitally.
Part of our problem is the world situation is also changing. First one to congratulate Marcos Jr. was Xi Jinping.
Yeah. And then
and during the campaign, yung Marcos Jr. said he would set aside the arbitral award.
Yeah, grabe yun, no?
Good relation. That means giving up the West Philippine Sea, which is several times larger than Ukraine.
Yeah.
Parang Duterte has tolerated the invasion of the Philippines, the exclusive economic zone. But that's even larger than Ukraine. Of course, wala naman tao doon. But they've been allowed to set up military bases. I don't know what's going to happen the next few years. Although what I see is there is a incipient tension between Marcos and Sara Duterte. let's see what will happen to that.
Yeah. Siguro as a bridge towards yung kasi we are already starting to back to the future na. Balakin muna natin yung yung second slide na earlier na kasi dapat originally po sa mga nakikinig, originally gusto sana namin 6 kami, si Girlie, ako, si Jer at si Sally at saka si Doc Eddie Doroton at si Oyen. Pero nasa Sorsogon pa sila pero pinadala ni Doc Eddie, I think the day after the elections, no. 3 points lang na sinabi niya. Yung una, which is also what Lenny said last night, what every one of us talked to each other. Don't deny. Kung talagang masakit, hurt ka,
okay.
Including habo ng pagkadismay, it's okay not to be okay. Wag lang, sabi nga ni Lenny, wag namang magmukmuk ng matagal. And really one of the responses, parang ginawa rin ninyo sa amin, Jer, may makipag-usap ka sa iba. Para exchange lang. Doesn't have to be anything more than that, ano?
Yeah.
Pero ang interesting yung ni-raise niyang pangalawa na wag namang wag kayong maging kampante and gloat and whatever and will be passive or magmumuk na lang o madi-disheartened. We'll keep you uncomfortable. And part of uncomfortable ay yung ni-raise mo, Jerry, you don't even have to blast the whole thing as wrong, illegitimate, kundi posing questions lang. Tanong lang bakit ganito?
Yeah.
Ang burden of paliwanag sa inyo, hindi sa amin. Nagtatanong lang kami. Matatanggap namin. Parang yun ang tono ni Lenny. Kung yan, de facto sabi mo pwedeng tanggapin. Pero tuloy namin itatanong. Magtatanong kami na hindi simpleng pagtatanong in general. We can pose yung side questions like that. Bakit ganito? Bakit ganyan? Pakipaliwanag nga. So far, ang only paliwanag na nababanggit ay hindi pa galing sa kanila yung supposedly law of large numbers na bakit consistent yung percentage ng reporting. That's only one part, yung reporting. Yung ni-raise natin recently na yung 31 to 14 compared to that, compare yung top set, mabigat na mga katanungan yan na at the very least, however pilipit, however efficient, it needs to be answered kasi I think that's one of making people in power uncomfortable. Pakisagot naman ang mga tanong namin, nagtatanong lang kami.
Pero including the people behind the surveys, there are legitimate questions to be raised.
Yeah.
Because even the experts who raised the idea of the law of large numbers, in that same statement, they said that the context must be clear. Ang problema, yung context nga na hindi nga nagre-reflect dun sa nangyari sa ground. Yun ang problema. Of course, they can start having big rallies now, and they can start having big victory parties now, no? Pero wala na yun
Hindi nila ginawa.
Yeah, tapos na yun. Hindi kasi napaghandaan yun
Yung Ateneo was something. Wala naman ako nakitang figure, but that must have been tens of thousands.
Definitely. At saka, mabuti na nga. Thank you for driving us there. Kami ni Girlie, we were not sure whether we could go. But it was good that we were able to go there. Not only because of the spirit of the crowd, but also later, towards the end, pag-usapan natin yung mensahe ni Lenny. But nire-remind ako ni Girlie, I think galing ito kay Sally na ilagay sa historical perspective yung ating ginagawa. Pinaghirapan ko ito na updated na. Unang-una, I didn't realize. Ako talaga personally, I didn't realize. Ano pala tayo? Kung ite-trace natin as a formally independent republic, 1946 lang. So, fairly young tayo even in terms of this democratic elections na na-interrupt pa ng martial law. kumbaga, simula ng term ni Duterte, 70 years lang, ano? And then he had 6 years. And then BBM will have another 6 years unless something happens to him. Pero that means 82 years pa lang. And the first 40, kalahati noon, ano lang, 6 lang na presidente. Rojas, Quirino, Magsaysay, Garcia, Macapagal, Marcos first term, Marcos second term, tapos Marcelo. 20 years, kalahati ng first half ng 80 years natin doon. And then next, parang the next longest presidency kay Gloria dahil nakuha niyang kalahati ni Erap at siya ay 9 years. So, in a way, siyempre, tanong nga ngayon ng iba, yung bang should BBM worry na baka yung term niya ay hindi matapos dahil... But anyway, ang ginawa ko po ito, unang-una sabi nga ni Sally, huwag naman yung isipin na we have not done enough. We have done what we can in our time, yung buong democratization, the voice, the vote. Pero inilagay ko more broadly, I like to pick up dun, Sally, yung point mo na hindi naman tayo pang election lang and also pang democratic vote lang. We have these broader goals, which is the goal of the whole Philippines as part of the world community. Sustainable development goals, in our case, may dagdag especially inclusive growth, participatory governance na talagang value natin, at saka peace, settlement ng mga armed conflict with justice. So it's against this background na gusto kong pag-usapan natin, how do we go back to the future? Especially with this talaga namang inspiring itong upsurge of volunteerism of the youth and to some extent revival ng spirits dating mga seniors. And then we segue later to the announcement ni Lenny that one of the things is planning and how do we respond to that. Okay. Sinisiko na ako ni Girlie. Sabi niya, sila ang guest, hindi ikaw ang guest. Sila ang pagsalitain mo.
No, but this is very important, Ed. We have to keep using this because aside this this poster of yours, because we need also, together with what we wanted during those periods, to be able to plot the small victories under each of those para hindi tayo laging palpak lahat, no? That's for me, that's very sad, no? It's not good to say that because
it's not true.
Yeah, it's not true, no? And it doesn't.
What have we accomplished para naman tayo?
Exactly. Yeah.
Siyempre, marami.
Even under Marcos, there were good things that happened. And sa akin, parang, I really like to recognize what happened to electrification.
Tama.
I like to recognize the start of the toll roads. That was good. I like to recognize the hospitals in Quezon City. Heart center, lung center, kidney center. These are all good things.
Nagbe-benefit naman ang ating mga kababayan dyan. Hindi naman natin dinideny.
And another thing that for me is very important, yung ginawa ni President Marcos sa West Philippine Sea. He did not call it West Philippine Sea, but he was the one who recognized the Palayan Island Group and made it a municipality of Palawan.
Yeah. But those are the kinds of victories that I want us to be able to plot along this historical presentation.
And yet, when you put it in the balance, mas marami negative.
Grabe yung ninakaw talaga, no?
Yung when we say na Marcos magnanakaw, we're not only referring to senior, pati si junior. Kasi si junior ang custodian. Si junior ang, di ba? He's the one in charge now of all that wealth together with his mother. And yet, sila nagtatago ng mga nakaw na kayamanan, kaya magnanakaw din sila.
Yeah.
Pero sa atin, just talking among the four of us, I mean, we always valued, in broad terms, democratic elections, votes and all that. Pero mas malalim yung pagtingin natin sa democratization, which I feel, sabi nga kanina rin sa bantayog nung iba, as they knew Lenny before, yung sa simula ng kanyang pasok sa politika, bagamat siyempre nandiyan si Jesse, i-pioneered yung Naga City People's Council, pero sabi niya mukhang na-internalize ni Lenny, mas malalim yung usapin ng democratization as people's empowerment and participation. Siyempre, an enabling government, an effective government, tapat na gobyerno is better. Pero democracy doesn't mean only that. It means yung citizens who are active na, sabi mo nga, Jer, they can resist kung kailangan mag-resist, pero kailangan rin namang mag-engage at makipag-partner kung bukas, no? And lalo na sa atin, data na naman ito, magagalit naman sa akin si Girlie. Pero nagkasama tayo lahat. Ito hindi natin kasama. Kasama briefly para sa Federation of Free Farmers. Kaya
nagkiro ako.
Nagkiro nga pala ito. Sige, sorry.
Anyway.
Pero sa FFFN, ang kuha natin sa participatory governance was limited to putting pressure on government.
Ganun lang.
Certain gains for farmers. Okay lang naman yun. Pero we have taken it a step forward. Diba? When we started doing like yung barangay development planning.
Yeah.
Of projects. Yung Jesse took it forward in Naga City, diba?
Yeah.
As you mentioned. And there are many other ways of taking it forward na we have to do. So, sa akin, kung matutuloy sana itong angat buhay everywhere o development efforts that are participatory, sana kasama yung element ng participatory governance.
Correct.
It also can be done in a sector, no? Like farmers, as we did sa FFF. Parang we need to engage Department of Agriculture, Department of Agrarian Reform, and engaging doesn't mean only at the national level. It can also mean engaging with the regional and provincial officials. But it centers around helping the farmers to understand what can happen if they themselves push for what they need.
Yeah.
So there's the element of people's participation, whether you're thinking of sector or territory or area. But it's important na kung sanay tayo sa sector, simulan na rin natin na i-link yung sector sa community para the farmers think not only of themselves but of other people in the barangay. Paano makatulong sa iba pa sa barangay. And they think in terms of how we can tap the resources of the barangay to benefit everyone.
Tama.
Yeah. But also the point, Ed, na di ba, I would mention na hindi tayo nagkaroon ng Truth Commission, ganon. And now that the young people are around, this may just be the best time for truth telling. Yeah. Actually, yun yung mahirap kasi yun yung pinakaayaw nila. Di ba? But we cannot leave that angle because especially because baka hindi nga lang truth telling, even truth preserving, kasi pati yung na-establish na natin gusto pang takpan, di ba? No? So the truth telling cannot be left out.
Natama ako, Ed, sa post ni Baste.
Yung UP.
University of the Philippines, gusto ko yung bagong Pilipinas University.
Totoo kaya yun o fake rin naman yun? Pero parang masyadong stupid
masyadong stupid?
Oo. Hindi, kasi gaya na pinag-usapan rin namin kanina sa Bantayog na tayo mismo, if you look at sa dati sa atin, other than democracy, human rights, ang taas ng value sa atin ng social justice. Social justice And then later, sa usapin natin, advocacy na peace with justice, para wag nang maaway. Pero sabi nga nung isang participant, pero alam nyo, itong truth, tumaas na ang level. Pero may impact yan because even justice will not be served. If
it's not based on truth.
Dinideny mo ang facts, dinideny mo ang
Yes. Yes.
And
Kaya in a way, bagong ano, kumbaga, if they had a hierarchy, mukhang the whole truth-telling in whatever form, at saka yung battle
Yeah.
over the
Yeah.
cyberspace on information analysis.
Just the way they disregard whenever they're asked, they just don't answer. Hindi pwede yun. No? Whenever the journalists ask them, what about your stolen wealth? How about this? They just simply say,
Ignore.
next question.
pero kahit
Nagsabi rin yung isa naman, pag siya nagsabi, ito, kaibigan, mga magkakaibigan, pag nire-raise niya itong usapin kayo, sabi, ano yan, that is divisive tactics lang yan ng eleksyon. Parang paninira lang yan. No?
Actually, may nagsabi sa amin, even within their family, sinabi na, ba't kasi hindi na lang tanggapin yung stolen wealth na yun para mabawasan na yung dinidefend?
Solid.
So, bakit hindi na lang isole yung stolen wealth na yan para tapos na yung issue?
Pero sa truth-telling, marami rin kasalanan si President Duterte. Pagpulong kay Laila de Lima is all based on lies.
Lumalabas ngayon, no? Mga witnesses, no?
So where to next again? Hindi, para doon sa mga kabataan. Kasi yung context nga what are they going to do?
Yes. Okay, that's the second part.
Yeah, let's go. That's like, kinuha ko ito sa Philippine Star picture at as it was happening, yung breaking news ng Philippine Star. May 13, 7:35 p.m. ni-report nila, Vice President Leni Robredo will launch Angat Buhay NGO. Isa lang yun. Then, campaign versus disinformation and historical revisionism through the what she calls the widest volunteer network in the history of the country. Ang ganda ng reaction ng isang Jensing kilala namin kagabing depressed. Sabi niya, nung binanggit ni Leni, napaiyak siya with joy. Ay, may dadaluyan yung energy niya. May gustong gawin Ay, hindi naman ito political party, hindi naman ito agad malalaking organization, pero yung the same volunteerism na i-channel through, a brand name naman talaga niya. Hindi lang yung Angat Buhay lahat, kundi Angat Buhay as ng BP siya sa program. No? I was really very happy na tamang-tama yung di ba? Pagkatapos sinabihan tayo, sige, kayang umiyak, wag magbukmok, usap, but afterwards, plano tayo July 1. Gagawin natin ito.
Ano masasabi ng ating lola?
Anong reaction nyo?
Like you, Ed, excited kami And I'm so happy na VP Leni is thinking not of retiring, not just of herself relaxing in Naga City or Magarao, but she's thinking of the country pa rin. I'm so happy about that. And really, parang when you talk of participatory governance, setting up an NGO, when you talk of development work, sustainable and inclusive, what it means is meron naman tayo magagawa as citizens.
Yeah.
Marami. And yung ginagawa natin doesn't mean na our own resources only. We can raise resources from friends, from others. We can also tap government resources. I don't think we will be shut out of government completely. Yeah. Maghanap lang tayo ng people who understand, people who, for the sake of communities that deserve our help, want to cooperate with us. Diba? If they're willing to have us as partners, why not? For as long as makakatulong sa depressed communities.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a very good thing. Para yung syempre couple that with truth telling, but truth telling not only in relation to national issues, but also local issues. Kasi maraming local issues na kailangan linawin. Ano ba talagang totoo? Maraming local concerns na ang problema is hindi malinaw kung ano yung totoo.
Yeah.
Well, talaga.
And also, si VP said, walang pipiliing kulay sa sa mga grupong tutulungan. And that's very important because we need to establish that just because we say all these things, it doesn't mean that we want this government or this administration to fail, no?
Yeah.
We will always still be happier if it doesn't fail.
Yeah.
Or if it makes some good things happen.
Yeah. Yun actually ang magandang message na sabi ko nga, believe rin ako how she delivered the message. Kasi talagang I can understand na people will say, sige na, you lead the next crusade as the main critic and the main opposition of this government. Hindi niya tinake up yung ganong ang dali pag-cater sa ganong sentiments. Ang lakas-lakas yan Pero sinabi niya, wag tayo makadagdag sa pagkakawatak-watak pa. Pero hindi natin i-give up yung pagtatanong. No? And more important, totoo rin naman, even if she were in government, alam natin government cannot address and respond adequately to all the needs of the people and the communities. Kailangan ng siguro the only difference siguro if she were the president, parang mas marami agad ang magko-collaborate with government and generate. Ngayon, nagwe-wait and see pa yung iba. Because even the private sector, even part of civil society, hindi naman lahat yan automatically oppositionist Tinitin lang muna, getting the signals. But in the meantime, yung matutulungan natin, which is I think the legacy ng Pink Movement, maliban sa campaign, talagang nagtutulungan sa kayang matulungan na. And I think that's important. But kaya I'm glad that...
Bagong bayanihan, they called it last night. The bagong bayanihan.
Actually, baka nga maganda yung... Kasi pag yung suggestion ng ibang tawaging kilusan may element ng agad political. Maybe it take up yung parang bayanihan sa pag-angat ng buhay o angat buhay bayanihan, whatever, no? May huwag na lang angat buhay bayan, baby ang labas nun. Pero ang interesting dyan, di ba, yung ating mga kaibigan sa Mindanao, sina Kaloy at iba, already saying na yung local Robredo People's Councils are already excited asking, paano tatayo ba natin yung ating local NGO? Ang pangalan rin ba yung Angat Buhay? Or we have another pangalan? Because I like your point, Jer, na kahit na mag-set ng overall tone at leadership si Lenny sa Angat Buhay, yung decentralized approach na nangyari sa kampanya manatili even now.
But I think what it means, Ed, is parang kasi tayo even before the campaign going years back, yung FFF and after, parang we're always thinking paano tayo makatulong. Paano tayo makatulong in terms of people empowerment, in terms of yung buhay ng tao, di ba? Pero ngayon may dagdag na element na kailangan mag-isip tayo ng electoral pati.
Yun ang bago.
To be honest about it, we shouldn't cover it up. Yung parang every barangay we enter, we have to think in terms of ilang mabotante rito. How did they vote in the last election? Ano ba yung gusto ng tao? Ano yung issues na gaya ng when we did the barn study?
That's right.
Tuwan-tuwa sa barn study kasi we got to the ground again and we saw for ourselves in certain barangays what they needed.
In my case, for example, yung isang barangay na inanuhan ko sa North Cotabato, meron silang ready road network map. Alam nila kung saan FMR dapat ang ilagay sa kanila. So that's a barangay that should get priority pag nagpa-FMR, whoever is the government, di ba? I think that's our advantage, that we have been in and out of government. Now, we have been in NGO and we have been in government. And we know that, for example, when we were in government, di naman tayo nag-concentrate in graft busting, no? Di lang tayo hanap ng mga sino bang nag-anomalya dito, ganun. Because if you do only that, wala ka madideliver sa tao, di ba? So we have to keep thinking of even as we're doing truth telling, what are we doing for the people?
Yeah.
What benefits are the people getting?
Yeah.
Ganun.
Saka yung kombinasyon ng even while we encourage people and assist them to claim their proper share of public resources and influence public policy. Yung resources we have as NGOs and as a volunteer network, ayusin. Ako personally, malapit naman sa ating puso yan na Jerry at Sally. Yung conversation rin natin kagabi after the pasasalamat rally na yung malik natin yung small farm producers, small fishers producers, basta in general, the small agri-producers, mailik natin sa consumers, malesen yung yung so many intermediaries, mas shorten yung food miles. I think clearly, alam naman natin, we had experience in DA, hindi mo lahat magagawa yan top-down at saka through national, you have to engage local governments. But more important, you also have to engage industry and NGO. And yung sa producers naman, kung hindi man at the very least, makluster sila sa halip na isa-isa or kung gusto nila maging co-op. I think that is an area na in general nandiyan naman yan sa ating NGO work, but we could do much more of that, yung kumbaga if you use the buzzword of forms of social enterprises talaga. Dati hindi masyado kasama yan sa ating agenda because we want to target mainly influencing huge public resources and public policies. Siyempre, yun naman ang mahalaga. Infrastructure and all. Talagang kailangan ng gobyerno. Pero lalo na sa transaction, lalo na sa food and other services, maraming magagawa tayo in this framework ng NGO partnerships.
Sa akin, Ed, para in the next few years, I would like to devote more time to look at the possibilities of working with corporates.
Yeah, correct.
That's one area, thinking back the last 50 years, hindi natin masyadong pinagtuunan. And yet, yung kaibigan natin si Romy Chan,
yung sa Axelum,
ang galing na Axelum, di ba? Parang, and yet, naghanap sila ng more coconuts. Is there a way that we can help them, but at the same time, and more importantly, help the farmers to produce the coconuts?
Yeah. Kasi sabi nga nila hindi lang sila actually, even hindi yung Peter, paano ba yung isa? Yung malaki sa Davao. Malaking coconut.
Baker.
Yung Franklin Baker. They were also reaching out to someone. Because sabi nila, we want to ensure yung aming supply chain mula sa coconut farmers. And they can even put in some kind of money for extension work. Pero hindi nila core business yun . They would rather partner with NGOs who will not only assist farmers to organize, improve their productivity, arrange na maayos yung logistic relay. Kasi ang maganda ron, nandun na yung final big processing plus marketing yun. So we don't have to think about that. Dati kasi tayo ang tingin natin sa enterprises, parang kompleto from production hanggang marketing atin. I think we have to learn na segment ang pwede nating ayusin. Kasi ang bias natin sa small producers, linking them to the bigger enterprises na ang requirement naman nila is aggregation rin. They cannot do it on their own. I think that's where pwedeng, I agree with you, Jer. Isa yan sa pwedeng tutukan natin. Starting with this whole coconut thing, isa rin yan.
Ang inisip ko, Ed, yung Moniz Berto raised it last night, di ba? Yung sa Unilab.
Oo, tama.
Ang possibilities niyan, yung Unilab in relation to coconuts.
Yeah.
Ang laki-laki ng potential ng coconuts,
natural
like
nutraceuticals at saka tama ka. Yan ang I think siguro among us four, isa yan sa area na we were si Sally had more experience with sina Alice and all that about enterprises. Tayo more public sector tayo activist NGO at saka local government, national government. Totoo ka, dealing with corporations,
Yes.
who, lalo, ang point lang naman dyan, at yun, to some extent, yun ang opportunity because of nagulo ang globalized value chain. So, the more strategic ang nag-iisip, ayusin man lang natin at least yung ating domestic value chain, yung mas kontrolado, hindi subject to the
Global.
turbulence na nangyayari at mangyayari pa sa global supply chains, no?
Okay, summarize.
Why hindi?
3 more minutes.
Hindi tayo summary. Itong dalawang guest natin.
Oh,
After all is said and done,
yes.
ano ang some final reflection and habilin and words ninyo sa atin?
Napatingin si Sally.
Napatingin.
And yung parang, ang feeling ko, di syempre we can continue doing what we've always been doing.
Yeah.
But there are certain elements na we have to add. Like yung sabi mo, yung truth-telling. Hindi ko alam paano gagawin, pero mahalaga yung sinasabi ni VP Lenin na meron silang expert sa data, sa batas, na tumitingin sa election results. That's important. Pero equally important will be yung
tama, yung nagmamahal, handang ipaglaban ang minamahal. Talaga. Girlie, ikaw naman.
Hindi. Nasabi na nga ni organized care.
Okay.
Mga nanay.
Yung organized greed at saka violence, o di harapin natin ang organized care. care.
Tapos in addition siguro sa organization, talking against the background perspective natin na ang tagal silang ganun rin. Our own care must be strategic na. Ano? Yung kasama na yung politika addressing elections, kasama na yung idea building more coherent systems, food systems from production hanggang
Saka, we
processing.
should also promote digital literacy.
Totoo.
Yes.
Yes. Amin ang hindi naintindihan how the social media work. Why are so much fake news viraling so fast than true, the truth. So sabi nga ni Brittany, galing talaga ng bata niyo. Literacy sa digital age is very important to protect your own rights. Sabi niya, yung digital rights, very few understand it. But it is possible to make laws so that you are protected. Pero yun nga, she has to undergo pa all these other mga challenges. Kasi syempre, china-challenge din siya ng iba na what is she, worth ba? Parang ganyan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kasi, tapos na ba tayo?
Tuloy. We have extra time.
It was predicted naman that the information revolution, even at the early stages, mahuhuli si regulation dyan. Mauuna yung revolution and then susunod ka, maghahabol ka with regulation. Yeah, but regulation is only one level of anong tawag mo doon, fighting or confronting what's happening there.
Parang scaffolding for the right of your own data. Yeah.
Correct. And earlier I thought we would mention it here that that's one of my observations. Iba na talaga yung terrain. No? And therefore there are new tools, new weapons being used.
Yeah.
And we're not even that familiar, tayo lalo na, we're not even that familiar with that terrain. No? Yeah. And so we need to reach out to our young techies, no? And ask them to help us understand. Yeah.
Pero interesting yan because I said that sa aming conversation sa Bantayog, ang response ng ilan parang ganito kasi sabi huli na kami seniors hindi yung technology and all that, the skills, the style, mas alam namin yan. And same thing with Mon. Pero yung laman, sabi niya, malaking bagay ang mako-contribute nyo riyan, no? Because sa buhay natin, pero mag-a-adjust rin tayo. Tatanda ko, lagi pag sinasabihan ako ni Ayan, lalo ni Ayan, Atay, ang haba-haba mo namang magsalita at dapat may bite size. Pero sinabi ko rin sa kanila, dapat mag-deep working kayo from time to time. Magbabaksa yung matagal-tagal. We have to learn that yung combining yung exchange na ganyan. At saka yung usapin ng mas yung nabihasa tayong malalimang usapan, matagilang diskusyon. No? Well,
thank you.
As usual, kulang ang oras. Pero sana po yung mga nakinig sa atin ay nakatulong kami sapagkat na-reflect sa aming diskusyon yung inyong nararamdaman rin, ang mga tanong ninyo at saka nabigyan kayo ng ilang balita, possibilities kung anong gusto nyo at pwedeng gawin.
I-plug naman natin si Mon.
Ay, nga pala kasi kagabi po 47th wedding anniversary ni Mon Isberto at dating Isberto, and we had at least a dinner conversation patapos ng rally. And siya pala po ay may regular na ring program every Saturday 8 o'clock ng gabi about technology. At ngayong gabi yata ang kanya it's about trolls. So in 1PH or ano ba yun? Parang Channel 5 ganun. Anyway, ganun po. At pinag-usapan na rin namin paano magtulungan ang NGOs, yung ating strength sa community, sa face-to-face direct, at ma-harness yung digital connections to link communities across. And I think yun ang kaya kahit po kami mga seniors na, lifelong learners at kailangan mag-lifelong learning. It's the only way we can not only adjust to the new situation, but also contribute to it and bring to it what we have from our life. No?
Sabihin mo, May 14, 1 PH.
May 14, 1 PH po. Libre ho ito, hindi kami binayaran na para mag-advertise sa kanya.
Tungkol sa mga trolls.
Pag-usapan raw yung tungkol sa trolls, ay dati ho sa Smart si Mon, kaya may alam yan. So, ang raming beses na nagpasalamat tayo.
Yes.
Thank you. But muli, maraming salamat, Jerry. Maraming salamat, Sally. Salamat, Cass. Ano?
Yes. Nahirapan siya sa connection.
Nahirapan. At, so again, sa Inet Philippines, senior sa panahon ng COVID at sa Lapis. Muli po, this was recorded. We hope na-record lahat. There might have been some interruptions, but you can still listen again. And besides, hindi ho ito ang huli. I think in the next weeks, marami pang gusto mag-usap-usap and we might schedule again other discussions sa Senior City tungkol sa na pag-usapan natin ngayon. The same topic, the same spirit, back to the future. Tingin sa nakaraan, humango ng leksyon, pero patungo sa hinaharap. No? In the spirit na paborito ko pa rin talaga yung Kantang Roses na dapat alam natin ang kayang gawin at hindi kayang gawin. Hindi natin mapapangako ang isang rosas na bukas, hindi maliliwanagan lahat ng anino, pero hindi titigil hanggat hindi natin kayang ipagmalaki na tayo ay Pilipino.
Si Ed ang pinakang president ng PAN ng Nica del Rosario. bagong ano niya, PAN ano.
So muli, thank you very much po. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Salamat, Girlie.
Sige. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Cass, thank you very much. Tapos na